The year was 2147, and Earth had become a planet of wonders. Humanity had reached new heights in science, technology, and cooperation. Wars that once tore nations apart were now lessons learned from the past. People lived longer, healthier lives. Thanks to medical breakthroughs and space exploration had opened doors to distant corners of the solar system. Cities floated above oceans, and colonies thrived on Mars and Europa. It seemed like nothing could stop humanity's march toward greatness. But then something happened that no one saw coming. On a calm Tuesday morning, when most people were going about their usual routines, an enormous shadow fell across the skies of Earth. At first, people thought it was some kind of malfunction with the weather satellites, or maybe even a trick of light caused by solar activity. But as millions looked up, they realized it wasn't any natural phenomenon. Dozens of massive ships hovered silently above the planet, their metallic surfaces gleaming ominously under the sun. These weren't human-made vessels. They belonged to someone or something else. News spread faster than anyone could process what was happening. Social media exploded with videos and pictures of the alien fleet. Governments scrambled to respond, calling emergency meetings and activating defense systems that suddenly felt woefully inadequate. The United Nations Space Council, based in Geneva, became the center of global attention overnight. Leaders from every nation gathered there, trying to figure out what to do next. Among them was Robert Hayes, a tall man with graying hair who served as the council's leader. He stood at the head of a large conference room, his face pale but determined as he addressed his team. "We need answers," Robert said, his voice steady despite the chaos swirling around him. "What are these things? Why are they here? And, most importantly, what do they want?" Sitting beside him was Elena Vega, a brilliant astrophysicist known for her groundbreaking work on interstellar communication. Her dark eyes scanned the data streaming across multiple screens in front of her. She had been monitoring deep space signals for years, hoping to find evidence of extraterrestrial life. Now she wished she hadn't been so successful. Beside her sat Alex Carter, a young linguist whose expertise lay in deciphering ancient languages. Normally soft-spoken, Alex leaned forward eagerly, his mind racing with possibilities. As the meeting continued, a broadcast came through every radio, television, and internet channel simultaneously. It wasn't in English or any language humans recognized, but its meaning was clear enough. A robotic voice translated the message into perfect, chilling clarity. "You will kneel before us or be annihilated." The room fell silent. Everyone stared at each other, unsure if they had heard correctly. Kneel? Annihilated? What did it mean? Was this a declaration of war, or was it something else entirely? Outside, panic began to take hold. Crowds filled streets, pointing upward at the looming ships. Some prayed, others cried, and many simply stood frozen, unable to comprehend the enormity of what was happening. Military bases went on high alert, though everyone knew Earth's weapons would be useless against such advanced technology. Politicians argued over whether to surrender immediately or try to negotiate. Others suggested launching preemptive strikes, though no one believed it would make a difference. Amid the confusion, Alex noticed something odd about the alien message. It wasn't just a string of words. It carried a rhythm, almost like music. There were patterns within the sounds, subtle shifts in tone that suggested layers of meaning beyond the literal translation. He turned to Elena, excitement flickering in his eyes. "Did you hear that?" he asked. "It's not just a demand. There's more to it." Elena frowned, replaying the recording in her mind. "You're right," she said slowly. "It's structured differently from anything we've encountered before. Maybe it's testing us." Testing them? The idea seemed far-fetched, but Alex couldn't shake the feeling that the aliens weren't simply issuing orders. They were probing humanity's ability to think critically, to look beyond surface-level threats. If that was true, then responding, with fear or aggression, might only confirm their worst assumptions about Earth. Over the next few hours, Alex pored over the audio files, searching for clues. He sketched diagrams and wrote notes furiously, his hands trembling with anticipation. Finally, he approached Robert with a bold suggestion. "What if we answer them?" Alex asked. Not with weapons or pleas, but with a single word, something, that shows we understand their challenge and that we refuse to bow down. Robert raised an eyebrow. A single word? Against beings capable of destroying us in seconds? It's not about power, Alex explained. It's about communication. Think about it. Throughout history, civilizations have used words to define themselves. Words like freedom, hope, or unity. We can choose one word that represents everything we stand for. The idea sparked debate among the council members. Some dismissed it as reckless, while others saw potential in its simplicity. Eventually, after much deliberation, they agreed to give it a try. After narrowing down their options, they settled on a word: rise. It symbolized humanity's resilience, its refusal to submit, and its determination to overcome adversity. With the decision made, Alex transmitted the response back to the alien fleet. As the signal left Earth's atmosphere, billions of people held their breath. Would the aliens attack? Would they leave? Or would they acknowledge humanity's courage? For now, all anyone could do was wait. The world watched anxiously as the alien ships remained motionless in the sky, their intentions still a mystery. In the meantime, stories of bravery and fear spread across the globe. Journalists captured images of families huddled together, soldiers standing guard, and children drawing pictures of the strange ships above. Humanity had faced challenges before, but never quite like this. And so, as the sun set on the longest day in human history, hope lingered faintly in the air. Whatever happened next, one thing was certain. The word rise had already begun to change the course of Earth's destiny. End of Part 1. Hours turned into days, and the alien fleet remained motionless in orbit. The ships hung there like silent sentinels, their metallic surfaces reflecting sunlight during the day and glowing faintly under the moonlight at night. Earth waited with bated breath, unsure of what would happen next. The initial panic had subsided slightly, replaced by a tense calm that felt almost heavier than outright chaos. People went about their daily lives but kept one eye on the skies, wondering if each passing moment would be their last. Inside the United Nations Space Council headquarters, the atmosphere was no less intense. Robert Hayes paced back and forth in his office, his mind racing with possibilities. He had spent years preparing for crises, but nothing could have prepared him for this. How do you negotiate with beings who seem to hold all the cards? Was their demand to kneel truly literal, or was it some kind of test? And if it was a test, had humanity passed or failed? Elena Vega sat hunched over her workstation, surrounded by monitors displaying streams of data. She hadn't slept much since. The aliens arrived, her focus entirely consumed by trying to decode their language. The message they had broadcasted still played in her head, its robotic translation echoing endlessly. You will kneel before us or be annihilated. But Elena couldn't shake the feeling that there was more beneath the surface. Languages weren't just tools for communication. They carried culture, emotion, and intent. If she could understand the nuances of the alien tongue, maybe she could find a way to bridge the gap between humanity and these mysterious visitors. Alex Carter worked alongside her, his youthful energy contrasting sharply with the gravity of the situation. While Elena focused on technical analysis, Alex delved into the philosophical implications of the alien message. He believed that every word carried layers of meaning, especially when spoken by a species as advanced as the ones currently parked above Earth. To Alex, the phrase kneel or be annihilated wasn't just a threat. It was an invitation to think deeply about humanity's place in the universe. Together, they began unraveling the complexities of the alien language. What started as a simple audio file soon revealed itself to be far more intricate than anyone anticipated. Each word contained subtle shifts in tone and rhythm, like musical notes woven together to form a symphony. These patterns suggested that the aliens communicated not only through logic, but also through emotion. For them, language wasn't merely functional, it was art. This changes everything, Alex said one evening, as he leaned over Elena's shoulder, pointing at a graph on her screen. They're not just demanding obedience, they're challenging us to understand them. Elena nodded. her brow furrowed in concentration. If that's true, then our response matters more than we thought. Sending Rise might have been exactly what they wanted to see. But even as they made progress, questions lingered. Why had the aliens gone silent after receiving humanity's reply? Were they analyzing it, debating among themselves, or simply ignoring it altogether? Without further communication, it was impossible to know. All Earth could do was wait and hope. While scientists and politicians grappled with the mystery, ordinary people around the world reacted in their own ways. Sarah Monroe, a journalist known for her empathetic storytelling, traveled from city to city, documenting how humanity was coping with the crisis. She interviewed shopkeepers, teachers, farmers, and children, capturing snapshots of life during uncertain times. Some expressed fear, others defiance, and many spoke of unity, a shared determination to face whatever came next together. In New York City, Sarah met a street artist named Marcus who had painted a massive mural depicting Earth, rising against a backdrop of stars. The image resonated with passers-by, drawing crowds who stood quietly before it, lost in thought. When Sarah asked Marcus why he chose that particular design, he shrugged and said, "Because we've always risen, haven't we? No matter what happens, humans find a way to keep going." Sarah included the story in her report, along with dozens of others like it. Her articles became a source of comfort for millions, reminding them that even in the shadow of unimaginable danger, humanity's spirit endured. Leaders across the globe praised her work, saying it helped foster solidarity during a time when division could have torn nations apart. Back at the council headquarters, discussions continued non-stop. Military advisors argued for bolstering defenses, though everyone knew conventional weapons would be useless against the alien fleet. Diplomats debated whether to send another message, perhaps offering terms of peace or collaboration. Others suggested waiting patiently, letting the aliens make the next move. The only consensus was uncertainty. One afternoon, Alex approached Robert with a new theory. "What if their silence is part of the test?" he asked. "Maybe they're giving us time to reflect, to show them who we really are." Robert frowned, considering the idea. "If that's true, then every action we take matters. Every decision reflects on humanity as a whole." "It does," Alex agreed, "and I think we're doing okay so far. We responded with courage instead of fear. That has to count for something." As the days stretched into a week, global media coverage intensified. News outlets speculated wildly about the aliens' intentions, ranging from conspiracy theories to optimistic predictions of interstellar friendship. Some claimed the fleet was preparing to attack, while others believed the aliens were impressed by humanity's resilience and were deciding whether to welcome Earth into a galactic alliance. Amid the noise, Alex and Elena quietly celebrated small victories. They had identified recurring themes in the alien transmissions, concepts related to growth, transformation, and survival. It seemed clear now that the aliens weren't merely issuing orders. They were presenting a challenge. Late one night, as Elena reviewed data alone in her lab, she stumbled upon something extraordinary. Hidden within the alien message was a series of visual codes embedded in the audio frequencies. When decoded, these codes formed images, not of Earth, but of other planets scattered throughout the galaxy. Each planet showed signs of advanced civilization, followed by scenes of destruction and rebirth. It was as if the aliens were sharing a history lesson, showing examples of species that had faced similar trials and emerged stronger because of it. Excited, Elena rushed to Alex's office and explained her discovery. Together, they pieced together the implications. The aliens weren't here to conquer or destroy, they were here to evaluate. By responding with Rise, humanity had unknowingly stepped into a cosmic trial designed to determine whether Earth was ready to join a greater community of intelligent beings. The realization filled them with both awe and dread. If they were right, then the stakes were higher than anyone realized. Acceptance meant access to knowledge and resources beyond imagination. Rejection meant isolation, and possibly eradication. When they presented their findings to Robert, he listened intently, his expression unreadable. Finally, he sighed and rubbed his temples. "So we're being judged," he said. Not just as individuals, but as a species. Yes, Alex replied, but we still have a chance to prove ourselves. We've already shown courage and intelligence. Now we need to show wisdom. Robert nodded slowly, understanding the weight of the task ahead. Humanity's fate rested not on weapons or wealth, but on the choices they made in the coming days. Whatever happened next, one thing was certain. The world was watching and the aliens were listening. End of Part 2. The days stretched into a second week, and the alien fleet remained unmoving in orbit. Their silence was deafening, a constant reminder of humanity's vulnerability. People around the world had grown accustomed to seeing the massive ships in the sky, but familiarity didn't make them any less terrifying. Every sunrise brought a mix of hope and dread, as if Earth itself were holding its breath. The absence of action from the aliens felt heavier than an outright attack would have been. It left room for doubt, fear, and endless speculation. Inside, the United Nations Space Council headquarters, tension simmered just below the surface. Robert Hayes spent most of his time shuttling between meetings, trying to keep global leaders united while grappling with the enormity of the situation. He knew that panic could spread faster than any disease, and maintaining calm was crucial, but even he couldn't ignore the gnawing uncertainty in his gut. What were the aliens waiting for? Were they deliberating humanity's fate, or had they already decided? Elena Vega and Alex Carter continued their work tirelessly, poring over every scrap of data the alien transmissions offered. They had uncovered layers of meaning within the messages, hints of philosophy and purpose woven into the language. The images Elena decoded, scenes of planets rising from destruction, only deepened the mystery. Each frame told a story of resilience, of civilizations overcoming trials that seemed insurmountable. To Alex, it was clear, the aliens weren't conquerors. They were judges, testing whether humanity possessed the qualities needed to join a galactic community. But what did that mean for Earth? If the aliens deemed humanity unworthy, would they simply leave, or would they erase the planet entirely? And if they accepted Earth, what price would humanity pay for membership in this mysterious coalition? These questions haunted Alex and Elena as they worked late into the night, their minds racing with possibilities. Outside the council chambers, life on Earth carried on under the shadow of uncertainty. Sarah Monroe traveled across continents, documenting how people coped with the crisis. In Tokyo, she met a group of students organizing peace rallies, their chants echoing through empty streets. In Johannesburg, she spoke with a grandmother who refused to stop tending her garden, saying, "If we're going to rise, we might as well do it with flowers." In Paris, she interviewed a musician who composed a symphony inspired by the word rise, its soaring notes bringing audiences to tears. Everywhere she went, Sarah found stories of courage and hope, proof that humanity wasn't defined by fear alone. Her reports became a lifeline for millions, offering glimpses of unity amid chaos. Leaders cited her work in speeches, urging citizens to remain steadfast. Even skeptics admitted that Sarah's storytelling helped remind people of their shared humanity. For many, her words provided comfort during sleepless nights, when the sight of the alien ships loomed largest in their minds. Back at the council headquarters, discussions grew more heated as time passed. Military advisors argued for preparing contingency plans, though no one believed conventional weapons could stand against the alien fleet. Diplomats suggested sending another message, perhaps elaborating on the word rise to demonstrate humanity's values further. Others insisted on patience, believing the aliens' silence was part of the test. The debate raged endlessly, with no clear resolution in sight. One evening, Alex approached Robert with a new idea. "What if we show them who we are?" he asked. "Not just through words, but through actions." Robert frowned, intrigued but cautious. "What do you mean?" "We've already responded with courage," Alex explained. "Now let's show them our creativity, our compassion, our ability to adapt. Let's broadcast examples of what makes us human, the art, the science, the moments of kindness that define us." Elena nodded in agreement. "It's worth a try. If they're judging us, then every piece of information we send matters." After much deliberation, the council approved the plan. Teams of scientists, artists, and historians worked together to compile a comprehensive record of humanity's achievements and struggles. They included images of ancient cave paintings, recordings of classical music, footage of modern cities, and testimonials from people around the world. The message culminated in a video montage set to a stirring orchestral score, capturing both the beauty and fragility of life on Earth. When the transmission was ready, Alex pressed the button to send it into space. As the signal left Earth's atmosphere, a collective sigh rippled through the council chambers. No one knew if the aliens would respond, but everyone hoped the gesture would speak louder than words ever could. Days passed, and still, the alien fleet remained silent. The weight felt unbearable, like standing on the edge of a cliff without knowing when or if you'd fall. People turned to faith, science, and each other for solace. Churches, mosques, temples, and synagogues overflowed with worshippers seeking guidance. Scientists redoubled their efforts to understand the aliens' technology, hoping to find some clue about their intentions. Families gathered around dinner tables, sharing memories and dreams as if each moment might be their last. In the midst of this uncertainty, Sarah returned to Geneva to cover the ongoing developments. She arrived just as Elena made another breakthrough. While analyzing the alien transmissions, Elena discovered faint pulses embedded within the audio frequencies. At first, they seemed random, but closer inspection revealed a pattern, a sequence of numbers corresponding to coordinates in deep space. When plotted, the coordinates formed a map leading to a distant star system. "This could be it," Elena said, her voice trembling with excitement. "They're showing us where they come from." Alex stared at the map, his mind racing. Or maybe they're inviting us to follow them, if we prove ourselves worthy. The discovery reignited hope within the council. If the aliens were willing to share their origins, it meant they saw potential in humanity. Perhaps the trial wasn't just about judgment, it was about connection. The thought filled Alex with a sense of purpose. Humanity wasn't fighting for survival alone. It was striving to become something greater. As the third week began, the alien fleet finally moved. The ships shifted slightly in orbit, their positions realigning in a way that suggested communication rather than aggression. Moments later, a new message arrived, this time accompanied by visuals. The images showed scenes of cooperation. Different species working together to build structures, explore planets, and solve problems. The robotic voice translated the message once again. "Prove your worth." The words sent shockwaves through the council chambers. Some interpreted them as a challenge, others as a threat. But Alex saw them differently. To him, the message was an opportunity, an invitation to demonstrate humanity's capacity for growth and collaboration. "We need to act quickly," he told Robert. "This is our chance to show them we're ready." Robert nodded, his expression grim but resolute. "Then let's give them something unforgettable." Under Alex and Elena's guidance, the council launched a global initiative aimed at showcasing humanity's best qualities. Artists created murals depicting unity and progress. Engineers unveiled prototypes of sustainable technologies designed to heal the planet. Educators organized virtual classrooms where children from different nations learned side by side. Every effort was filmed and transmitted to the alien fleet, creating a living portrait of Earth's potential. As the days passed, the response from the aliens remained elusive. Yet something shifted in the air, or perhaps in the hearts of those watching below. People began to see the crisis not as an end, but as a beginning. The word rise took on new meaning, symbolizing not just resistance, but transformation. Whether humanity succeeded or failed, it was clear that the journey had already changed them forever. End of part 3. The fourth week arrived, and the alien fleet still lingered in orbit. Their silence stretched like an endless void, leaving humanity suspended between hope and despair. The global initiative to showcase Earth's best qualities had been broadcast days earlier, but there was no sign of acknowledgement from the aliens. People began to wonder if their efforts had been enough, or if they had even mattered at all. The uncertainty gnawed at everyone, from world leaders to ordinary citizens. Inside the United Nations Space Council headquarters, the atmosphere was tense. Robert Hayes spent long hours pacing the halls, his mind racing with questions he couldn't answer. Had humanity done enough to prove its worth? Were the aliens impressed by the creativity and unity displayed in the broadcasts, or had they dismissed them as insignificant? He found himself replaying the alien message over and over. Prove your worth. What did it truly mean? And how could anyone measure up to standards set by beings so far beyond human comprehension? Elena Vega and Alex Carter worked tirelessly, analyzing every detail of the alien transmissions for clues. They had decoded layers of meaning before, but this time felt different. The stakes were higher, and the clock seemed to tick louder with each passing hour. Elena focused on the faint pulses embedded in the audio frequencies, trying to uncover any new patterns or hidden messages. Alex, meanwhile, studied the visual coordinates pointing to a distant star system. He couldn't shake the feeling that the map wasn't just information, it was an invitation. One evening, as they reviewed the data together, Elena noticed something she had missed earlier. Within the pulses was a sequence of symbols that repeated at regular intervals. At first glance, they appeared random, but when plotted against the timeline of events since the aliens' arrival, they formed a clear progression. It was as if the aliens were tracking humanity's responses step by step, evaluating not just individual actions, but the collective trajectory of Earth's choices. "They're watching us," Elena said, her voice low with awe. "Not just what we do, but how we change because of it." Alex nodded, his eyes widening with realization. "This isn't just about proving ourselves once. It's about showing growth over time. Every decision matters because it shapes who we are." The discovery gave them a renewed sense of purpose. If the aliens valued progress and adaptation, then humanity's journey wasn't over yet. Each act of kindness, innovation, and cooperation added another layer to the portrait of Earth being painted in the stars. Outside the council chambers, life continued under the shadow of the alien ships. Sarah Monroe traveled across continents, capturing stories of resilience and transformation. In Rio de Janeiro, she met a community coming together to clean polluted beaches, turning waste into art installations that symbolized renewal. In Mumbai, she spoke with engineers designing affordable water purification systems to help rural villages survive droughts. In Chicago, she interviewed a teacher who inspired her students to build robots capable of planting trees in deforested areas. Everywhere she went, Sarah saw evidence of humanity rising, not just to meet the aliens' challenge, but to become better versions of themselves. Her reports resonated deeply with audiences worldwide. Millions tuned in nightly to watch. Her documentaries, finding inspiration in the stories of ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Leaders cited her work in speeches, urging citizens to embrace the spirit of collaboration and innovation. Even skeptics admitted that Sarah's storytelling reminded humanity of its shared potential. For many, her words became a beacon of hope during uncertain times. Back at the council headquarters, discussions grew more focused as the implications of Elena and Alex's findings sank in. If the aliens were tracking humanity's evolution, then every action mattered, not just those directed at them, but also those aimed at improving life on Earth. This realization sparked a wave of initiatives designed to address global challenges. Governments partnered with private organizations to tackle climate change, poverty, and inequality. Scientists collaborated across borders to develop technologies that benefited all of humanity. Artists created works celebrating diversity and connection, reminding people of their shared humanity. As these efforts unfolded, the alien fleet remained silent. But something shifted subtly in the way the ships positioned themselves. They moved closer together, forming intricate patterns in the sky that resembled constellations. To some, it looked like a signal. To others, it felt like preparation for departure. No one knew for sure, but the movement reignited speculation about what might happen next. One afternoon, Alex approached Robert with a bold idea. "What if we take the final step?" he asked. "We've shown them our creativity and compassion. Now let's show them trust." Robert frowned, unsure of what Alex meant. "How do you propose we do that?" "By reaching out directly," Alex explained. "We've been broadcasting messages and visuals, but what if we send someone, a representative, to meet them face to face? It would be the ultimate gesture of goodwill." Elena chimed in, her tone cautious but supportive. It's risky, but it could work. If the aliens value courage and vulnerability, this might be exactly what they're looking for. The suggestion sparked heated debate among council members. Some argued that sending a representative into unknown territory was reckless, while others believed it was the logical next step. After hours of deliberation, Robert made the decision to proceed. A volunteer would be chosen to board a spacecraft and approach the alien fleet, carrying a message of peace and a willingness to learn. The announcement sent shockwaves around the world. Applications poured in from astronauts, scientists, diplomats, and ordinary citizens eager to represent humanity. After careful consideration, the council selected Elena Vega for the mission. Her expertise in astrophysics and her role in decoding the alien language made her uniquely qualified to bridge the gap between species. Though nervous, Elena accepted the responsibility with quiet determination. Preparations began immediately. Engineers designed a sleek spacecraft equipped with advanced communication devices and safety protocols. Diplomats crafted a message emphasizing humanity's desire for understanding and cooperation. Meanwhile, Sarah documented every step of the process, ensuring the world stayed connected to the historic moment unfolding before their eyes. On the day of the launch, crowds gathered near the spaceport, their faces filled with a mix of fear and hope. As Elena suited up and boarded the spacecraft, she glanced out the window at the sea of faces below. She saw parents holding children, friends embracing, strangers standing side by side, all united by the belief that humanity could rise to the occasion. The engines roared to life, and the spacecraft ascended into the sky, heading toward the HFY alien fleet. Cameras captured every second of the journey, broadcasting it live to billions of viewers. As Elena approached the massive ships, the tension reached a breaking point. Would the aliens welcome her, or reject her attempt at connection? When the spacecraft docked with one of the alien vessels, Elena stepped out cautiously, her heart pounding in her chest. Before her stood towering figures clad in shimmering armor, their forms both beautiful and intimidating. For a moment, there was only silence. Then, one of the aliens raised a hand, and a voice echoed in Elena's mind, not through sound, but through thought. "You have risen," the voice said. "Show us your truth." Tears welled in Elena's eyes as she realized the significance of the moment. Humanity hadn't failed. It had proven itself worthy, not through force or fear, but through courage, creativity, and compassion. The aliens weren't conquerors. They were guides, offering Earth a place among the stars if it chose to accept. As Elena transmitted the message back to Earth, the weight of the universe seemed to lift. The alien fleet began to move, their ships aligning in formation. And for the first time in weeks, humanity dared to breathe freely again. The moment Elena Vega stepped onto the alien ship, history changed forever. Her heart raced as she stood face to face with beings who seemed to radiate power and wisdom. Their towering forms shimmered faintly, their armor glinting like liquid metal under the soft glow of light that filled the chamber. Though they had no visible mouths, their presence spoke volumes. The voice in her mind, calm, resonant, and otherworldly, repeated its earlier message. "You have risen. Show us your truth." Elena took a deep breath, steadying herself. She had prepared for this moment, rehearsing what she would say if given the chance to speak directly to the aliens. But now, standing before them, she realized that words alone wouldn't be enough. Humanity's truth wasn't something that could be captured in a single sentence or even a series of arguments. It was a tapestry woven from billions of lives, each thread representing struggles, triumphs, mistakes, and dreams. "I come on behalf of Earth," Elena began, her voice trembling but clear. "We are a species still learning how to live together, how to care for our planet, and how to reach beyond ourselves. We make errors, yes, but we also grow from them. That is our truth." The aliens didn't respond immediately. Instead, they extended their hands not physically but through some kind of energy projection, and images flooded Elena's mind. She saw glimpses of distant worlds, civilizations rising and falling, planets healing after devastation, and stars being born anew. Each image carried emotions: hope, sorrow, resilience, wonder, as if the aliens were sharing pieces of their own history. They weren't just showing her facts. They were offering understanding. When the visions faded, Elena felt tears streaming down her cheeks. She understood now why the aliens had come. They weren't judges passing final verdicts or conquerors, seeking domination. They were guardians of a greater cosmic order, ensuring that only those ready to contribute positively joined the galactic community. Humanity hadn't been tested out of malice. It had been given an opportunity to prove it belonged among the stars. "We accept your truth," the alien voice said finally. "But acceptance comes with responsibility. To rise further, you must commit to growth, transparency, and unity. Will you agree?" Elena nodded without hesitation. "Yes, on behalf of Earth, I agree." With that, the aliens gestured for her to follow them deeper into the ship. They led her to a vast chamber where holographic displays showed Earth alongside other planets within the galaxy. Some were thriving, others recovering from past conflicts, and a few appeared barren, reminders of civilizations that hadn't risen when called upon. The sight filled Elena with both awe and humility. Humanity wasn't alone in the universe, but it wasn't guaranteed survival either. Every choice mattered, every action rippled outward. After what felt like hours, the aliens escorted Elena back to her spacecraft. As she prepared to leave, one of them placed a small device into her hand, a gift, though its purpose wasn't immediately clear. Then, with a final nod, they sent her on her way. The journey back to Earth passed in a blur, Elena's mind racing, with everything she had seen and learned. When her spacecraft re-entered Earth's atmosphere, the entire planet seemed to hold its breath. Billions watched as she descended safely, stepping out onto the landing pad to thunderous applause. Reporters shouted questions, cameras flashed, and leaders rushed forward to greet her, but Elena raised a hand, silencing the crowd. "They've accepted us," she announced, her voice strong despite the exhaustion etched on her face. "But this isn't the end. It's the beginning. The aliens call themselves the Galactic Accord. They seek to unite intelligent species across the galaxy, fostering peace and progress. If we join them, we gain access to knowledge and resources beyond imagination. But there are conditions. We must work together openly, share our discoveries responsibly, and prioritize the well-being of all life, not just humans." Her words sent shockwaves around the globe. For days, debates raged in parliaments, town halls, and living rooms. Some feared losing autonomy, while others worried about the responsibilities that came with joining such a coalition. Yet the overwhelming sentiment leaned toward acceptance. Humanity had already shown its ability to rise above division. Now, it needed to embrace collaboration on an unprecedented scale. A global summit convened to formalize Earth's decision. Representatives from every nation gathered, deliberating long into the night. In the end, public opinion tipped the scales. Inspired by Sarah Monroe's reports and the countless stories of courage and unity shared during the crisis, people voted overwhelmingly in favor of joining the Accord. When Robert Hayes announced Earth's acceptance, cheers erupted worldwide. Fireworks lit up skies, and celebrations spilled into streets as humanity embraced its new destiny. In the weeks that followed, ambassadors from the Galactic Accord arrived on Earth, initiating formal diplomatic relations. They brought technology far beyond anything humanity had ever dreamed of: clean energy solutions, medical advancements, and tools to heal damaged ecosystems. In return, they asked for transparency, cooperation, and accountability. Slowly but surely, Earth began integrating into the galactic network, contributing its unique strengths while learning from others. Alex Carter played a crucial role in bridging cultural gaps between humans and extraterrestrials. His expertise in language and philosophy made him invaluable in negotiations, helping translate not just words but intentions. Together with Elena, he helped establish Earth's first interstellar embassy, a gleaming structure designed to symbolize unity and hope. Sarah Monroe chronicled this historic transition, documenting every milestone and challenge along the way. Her stories ensured future generations would remember the courage and wisdom shown during humanity's darkest hour. As the alien fleet departed, leaving behind representatives and gifts of goodwill, Alex stood atop a hill overlooking the newly constructed embassy. He gazed at the night sky, marveling at how much had changed in such a short time. Once, humanity had looked up at the stars with fear and wonder. Now, it reached for them with purpose and determination. For the first time, Alex felt truly connected to something greater than himself. Worlds might hold their breath, but humanity had risen, and it would never kneel again. End of Part 5.